Okay.
Hi.
Hey, here we go.
Come alive, come alive. D&D with A&G.
Welcome to D&D with A&G.
Come a line. Come a line.
Welcome, welcome.
This is episode 4.
Episode 4. Can you believe it, Jenna?
We've stuck with a singular thing for 4 things.
Honestly, it's giving me hope for getting the rest of my life together.
Maybe we can. Maybe we can do this.
Maybe we can. How are you? It's so good to see you.
I'm good. It's good to see you. I really have to say, like, if anyone's listening and they're like, you have an opportunity to start a podcast with your like bestie of all time and see her weekly. We've talked more
Yeah,
in the last 3 months than
yeah.
I think the last like
5, 10
10
years.
years
Yeah.
combined. So it's
Mostly
just
it's
it's a
because
treat. Do it. I would say do it.
it's really fun. And mostly it's because I'm live texting Jenna like every single thing that I do related to
We are
that.
in constant communication now. And I
So
love that.
it's lovely. It's honestly such a blessing.
It's awesome. Um, well, I know our last episode was our longest one yet at a
We're gonna
whopping 1 hour and 20 minutes. So we are
yikes.
going to try to tighten things up around here. But I worry with today's topic, it could be hard. I could see
It's
us
gonna be,
going,
yeah.
we're,
This might not be the one. This
this
might not
might
be
not
the
be
right
maybe next week.
one. Maybe
So
next
for
week.
this week, if you're listening to this live, if you're staying on top of weekly episodes, this week is Halloween. It's on Thursday, which is an
Yes.
awkward date for it to be on. No one knows, like, were we celebrating last weekend? Are we celebrating Friday?
Right.
But Thursday is Halloween. Also, pro tip, if you are a single income person with no kids, or a dual income couple with no kids, go out to dinner on Halloween. No one
Oh, that's
goes
a
out to eat
great
on
idea.
Halloween, and it's so easy to get in anywhere. And a lot of times, the people who are
That's a great
working
idea.
places are also wearing costumes, so it's fun to see. And there's no children around.
I was
It's great.
about to say, and there's also no kids.
It's like our favorite thing to do. We did it last year, like off the cuff,
That's
and
a great pro
realized it's
tip.
the best. So
That's a great pro tip. I've never, Jenna, had a trick or treater as an adult. No one has ever come to trick or treat at any of the places I've lived as an adult.
I
Can you
had
believe?
one time since I've lived in this house, one, and it was the sweetest thing because my neighborhood is very
Oh.
small. It's one street, and it's mostly like retired boomers. It's this kind of
Mhm.
like older established neighborhood, and Todd and I are the young weird couple that lives here, um,
Aw,
which is fine. We love them. We love
I
all of
love
them,
it. I love that,
and
honestly.
I think they tolerate us, as much as they can. And one year we had trick or treaters because I think one of the neighbors, her granddaughter and her granddaughter's
Oh,
friends were with her. So there's just
cutie.
3 of them, and 3 little girls, and they were all dressed as superheroes. And I mean, they
That's
were probably like
adorable.
4, and it was just like my favorite thing. I gave them all the candy. I was like, no one
Ah,
else is coming.
here, take it.
Here's all of the candy.
Take it all.
It
I
was so
love that.
cute.
I mean,
But
oh yeah, sorry. Go
oh
ahead.
no,
I'm,
no,
I'm
I was
kidding.
just I realized I never finished my thought.
Yeah,
Halloween is this
that was my
Thursday.
bad. That was my bad. Yeah.
No, I went on 8 different tangents and we just got started. Um, Halloween is Thursday, so in celebration of Halloween, this week's theme is horror movies. Which we'll put on the alignment chart. We'll tell you really briefly what that means and what we're doing here. But I'm very excited. I think this is going to be a fun one.
This is probably the one I've looked forward to the most, which is saying a lot since this podcast is better for my mental health than my anti-anxiety meds.
Hey, look at that. And maybe, listeners, it could be better for your mental health
You
than
know,
anti-anxiety meds. We are
tune
not
in.
doctors. I am not making diagnoses or recommendations, but give it a try. Listen,
And it's free for now. No, I'm just
free
kidding.
for now.
So yeah, horror movies. Let's, like you said, Jenna, we'll quickly run through. The D&D chart is alignment chart is a chart used in Dungeons and Dragons, which neither Jenna nor myself have ever played, but it's a helpful tool to I think in the game identify a particular character's motivations and sort of predict their actions based on what motivates them. And so it's also happens to be a really fun analytical framework to
Yeah.
have discussions about random shit with your best friend. So
Yes.
that's what we're doing. And then of course, very quickly across the top, x-axis, it goes from lawful, neutral to chaotic. like it sounds. Lawful folks love the rules. They love the order, for order and rules and law's sake. Chaotic folks hate rules and law and order because they're rules and law and order. Neutral doesn't have a leaning either way. And I'd love to throw to you, Jenna,
The y-axis is good, as it sounds, neutral, also as it sounds, and evil. I think of that axis as a little bit about the intent of your actions. You know what we should do, Amy? Now that we have an Instagram, so give us a follow over.
Oh, Instagram, what's up? Hit us up. It's D&D Wang.
Which is confusing.
That's my bad.
Which stands for with
bad.
A and G, not a reference to anything in particular.
My bad, guys.
DNDWANG.
D&D Wang. Hit it up.
Yeah, follow us. But we should put and pin to the top of that one of the examples that kind of breaks down each of the categories. And then then maybe we can be like, we're throwing it out to you to do the research and look at that ahead of time, listeners.
I'm gonna make a note of that right now.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear a little bit, Amy, about how you approached your choices this week, because I kind of changed I had a thought process, so I want to hear about yours.
Okay. And I'm excited to hear about yours too. So I guess just as like this is why this is not going to be the shortest episode that we have, as like an introductory sort of statement that I'll make here. I think that horror movies are unfairly, generally speaking, unfairly maligned, and discounted. Do you know what I mean? There's no horror movie Oscar. Right? People don't, I think typically a lot of folks don't think of horror movies as like serious movies. They're silly, they're goofy, whatever. They don't respect them. And I feel very strongly that that is wrong. And the reason for that is I think in addition to just being like scary and creepy and fun, horror movies are some of the best sort of studies in human
behavior.
Yes, humanity, its boundaries. Like it puts us in these positions to think what is human identity? What are the bounds of, I think I'm a good person. Well, how far does that go?
Under right. And what would I do? You do a lot more like, what would I do in this situation?
That's exactly
in
right.
horror films.
How funny is it that everybody's always like, oh, I would be the one left standing, or oh, I would never do that, or oh, I would never do
hell no. I'm so bad. I like literally when I get scared, I just close my eyes and I pretend it's not happening. Like I will not
You're
survive.
A freeze.
If I'm going to be murdered right now, I don't want to see it. I'm not, if you're going to wait for me to open my eyes, we're in a standoff. Like I'm not doing it.
You know what? That's a good strategy, actually. That's not bad. I haven't seen
only
anybody.
If they care about it being witnessed.
I love it. But yeah, horror is my favorite genre. And I think part of the reason is that to me, it does sort of bring those kind of questions into more stark relief, more sort of immediately than other types of movies. So basically my thought process in doing my chart was like, what are movies that I really want to talk about? And so I'm going to figure out a way to put them on the chart.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's sort of how I started. I was like, made a list of just movies that I have strong opinions about.
I do too.
That I knew, like, I either have stories around or I have a lot of just thoughts and feelings about them. So I'm sorry for like people that are like classic horror fans. I don't have a ton of those on my chart. I didn't go like, oh, we must include The Shining, or we must get like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like I didn't play that way. So I have a lot more modern horror on there probably than OG horror. And also once I did that, I had this really long list. I started putting them on the grid, but I noticed my reasoning for putting them on the grid kind of varied. And so then I felt like I wasn't doing it well. Like I kind of had to take a step back. And that's when I started looking for the motivations chart. Cause at first I was like, oh, maybe I'm placing them based on how the movie exists within the genre. You know what I mean? Like, is it breaking rules? Is it?
Oh, that's interesting.
So I started there, but then there would be ones that I was like, thinking more about the characters and what their motivations are, what the villain's doing or whatever. So it became a little bit chaotic. So I backed up. I backed up because I'm a professional. And I Googled and I found this chart that I really like. That's just a different way to analyze what each of the squares means. So I'll walk, and it basically gives kind of like a a very funny short description of who exists in that square. And so then I
Exciting.
placed them based on this chart. So I will on the Instagram, I'll also share this chart, but I'll walk through it as we go through them. So
I love that. I definitely applied chaotically. I did not stick to a lawful analysis.
you are chaotic good. See, I don't know why you would think you aren't. I mean, to me,
Well,
you're
because
very
I'm kind of a
chaotic
rule
good.
follower. You know what I mean? Like I'm like one of those weird, like on weird stuff,
I
like
mean,
on the
we're
big
not going
stuff.
around like breaking literal laws all the time,
Yeah.
but I think I'm still giving you chaotic good.
Oh, thank you. Which one do you want to be?
I mean, I think chaotic good is the most fun. Like that's like where
Yeah.
I would aspire to be. I mean, I think I would just be happy if anyone would give me neutral good because I agree. Like I break a lot of societal
Yeah.
laws, but I
Yeah.
don't break any like it'll put me in jail
Mm,
laws really.
I hear that.
So,
That's why I think we're both good neutral, but you know, and that's
um, no, that's I
in
mean,
fact one
well,
of my
wait till you hear the
favorite.
description on this chart about neutral
Can't
good.
wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
It's a pretty funny chart.
So
Okay,
where are
well,
we
should
gonna?
we dive in?
We should dive in. Should we dive in straight from the should we do the usual
Yeah, start at lawful
starting
good.
place? Let's do it. Who
Okay.
wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
So my chart, my reference chart that I found calls lawful good judgy McNoFun.
Oh my God, that is perfect. That's what
Which
I've
I
been
love.
trying to say this whole time. That's what
Yes.
we've been talking about this whole time.
Yes. And
Judging.
I really, I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this chart's for me.
Yeah. Love
So
that.
in my judgy McNoFun space, I put the movie The Menu.
I love that movie.
Me too. It's not because I don't think the movie's fun.
I
There
love
were
Ray
several
Kwan.
reasons. It's sort of like that the
Beef.
main chef, the chef's
Mhm.
character, he seems very judgy McNoFun.
Yes.
Also, all of the people, the critics
Yes.
who are there to enjoy this food are judgy McNoFuns.
Ooh, I love this.
It's kind of lawful good because he does let the one character you like, in theory, go because she
Ah.
orders something that's not judgy McNoFun. She orders like a
Mm,
classic cheeseburger.
mm,
Oh, sorry, the spoiler. If you haven't seen The Menu,
Oh,
sorry
listen,
about that. It's
you
good
gotta
though.
stop
Watch it.
right now. If you hear a name of a movie, there will be spoilers.
Plug your ears. I love this film though. I thought it
It's
was
so good.
brilliantly done, and I love that
Yep.
it's this critique on critique culture, which I think is really cool.
Mhm.
So anyway, so that's why I ended up putting it in my lawful good category.
Love that. I love the analysis. I love the movie. I also think it's like, first of all, this is why you should all have a job in the service industry. It could save your life one day. um, but also I thought it was really, talk about the layers that horror movies can give you, right? That there definitely is also this tension between those who give and those who take, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so I thought that was I love that movie. I bought it actually on my, like you don't ever like buy movies anymore.
Like you
But
bought it digitally or you bought it physically?
digitally, no, digitally. I
Oh,
bought it.
okay. Yeah.
Sometimes
No, that's
I
what I did with the Barbie movie because I was like, I just have to own this. This has to be a thing I own. I don't
love
know why. I just must have it in my life.
I love it. Great pick, Jenna.
What about you? What do you have for lawful good?
My lawful good's probably a snooze fest pick, but I picked The Exorcist.
Whoa.
Yeah, because the talk about Judgy McNoFun. She's just trying to have a good time. She's just trying to come out of her shell, That's one take. That's one take. But the other is like, obviously they're, it's like the church.
She's just trying to come out of her shell as your description of this woman battling a demon.
Yes.
Okay, I like it. I'm into it. I just saw it this last year. I got into some
That was the first time you saw it?
Yeah, and Poltergeist, like I got into some classics
I love
earlier this year,
Poltergeist.
so I just saw it for the first time.
What did you think of Exorcist?
I mean, there had been a lot of hype, people, because like people like I think my dad like saw it in theater, and it
Oh
like
yeah.
it was
it
one
was
of
a
the more
big deal when it came.
disturbing
Yeah.
movies that had been created up
Yes.
until that
Yes.
moment in time. So I
Yes.
think it had a lot of shock value.
Yes.
But then if you're been watching horror until you fall
Right.
asleep every night in modern
You're like,
era, like
"Meh."
it's pretty tame.
Yeah,
But it's well done. I mean, it held up.
Yeah, it definitely holds up. And the other piece is like folks who it's something that will scare people who are like, I don't get scared by horror movies, because like those kind of people I think are more in the spiritually, that kind of stuff kind of freaks them out. So I like it
Yeah.
for that reason. But then the more sort of like obvious analysis is like, it's the church trying to exorcise a demon, but I prefer that they just won't let a girl live. And so they're judging McNoFun.
Let her live.
Let her
Yeah.
live.
I love that. That's a great pick. That's a great. Yeah, one of mine in the lawful category is a similar thought process.
Ooh, God, I love this one already. I love this episode already.
Okay, well, kick us off. Keep it going with neutral good then.
Okay, neutral good. But now let's see. So, I really wanted to put this somewhere. I put The Thing.
I haven't seen the thing.
Genna. The Thing is one of my top favorite horror movies of all time.
It's older too, right?
Older.
Like it's
It's in like the 80s.
80s. Okay.
Late 70s, early 80s, I want to say. Kurt Russell. Ooh. And it's in Antarctica. I'm kind of gonna give you some spoilers.
Spoilers. You're so cute.
Spoilers.
Give me those
Spoil.
spoilers.
I'm gonna give you some spoilers.
That's okay. It won't hold me back. I knew a lot about The Exorcist before I watched it.
Okay, touche. It's so good. The Thing is so good. So basically, the reason I picked neutral good is this one again is sort of based on the protagonist's actions and motivations, which is not how I did it on all the chart, but I did do it for lawful good and neutral good. And so essentially what happens is that there's this team that go down to Antarctica to meet up with this, I think they're Norwegian or Swiss or something, that was already down there doing research. And what happened was they found something in the ice, and it was like some sort of alien that had crashed and that had been, and they de-thawed it. And essentially what the alien does is it's a chameleon. So it will like kill something and then take its exact form. And so, and the reason it's neutral good is that at the end of the film, they're like, look, they essentially sacrifice themselves because they understand that if this thing, the thing, gets out into the world, which it's trying to do through human form, it will take over one of them and then it'll try to escape, whatever, that the whole world will be overtaken. And so they sacrifice themselves in order to save the world by like setting everything on fire, because the alien can survive the ice, but it can't survive fire. And there are so many things that I love about this movie. I think that it really balances this fear of the unknown with the alien and a fear of the known, because you have no idea which one of these people that you're stuck with in this little compound is the thing, or is your actual colleague that you've been spending all these. And there's something about the isolation of the ice, of Antarctica, that is really scary. You know what I mean? And so also, though, the physical effects, like I love physical effects. I miss physical effects. I'm saying phooey on you, graphic boot, blah, blah, blah. I want somebody's head made out of clay to explode and spray, actual goopy brains all over the place. So anyway, it's a great movie. Check it out. Now that you know the entire plot, though. So
that's okay. I love it. No, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great
And in
pick.
fact, the True Detective, the most recent season.
I was just going to ask you if you'd watched that.
Yes. And it's like an homage kind of in a way to the thing. Like, in fact, if you watch, I think it's episode 1. I like notice this stuff now, but like there's like, it's in an Arctic, but it's up north in an Arctic headquarters where they're doing research, and they go in and they can't find anybody, and they're in their like like living room, I guess, and they've got this wall of DVDs and books, and the movie the thing is sitting out open to the audience. So I think it's like actually sort of overtly kind of tipping the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's a great pick.
Thanks.
So in my reference chart, neutral good is called sweet but boring.
Oh, damn. Ouch. God damn. I wouldn't call us sweet, but would you call us sweet but boring?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Okay, I wouldn't.
Or sorry, boring but sweet. Anyway, I don't know that that changes anything, is the official words,
Interesting.
but
Interesting. They
um
could have even said and it would have been better, you know, boring and sweet. Goddamn.
and so ultimately what I went with for this one is Happy Death Day,
I have seen that one.
which I think is actually a very charming film.
It is.
I don't think it's boring necessarily, but it is one of those like Groundhog Day plots. It's like
Mhm.
it's like a horror play on Groundhog's Day.
Yep.
Um,
It's good. I like it.
but yeah, I think it's charming. I actually like the sequel. I think it's well done too.
Oh, I do that too for once, you know.
Yeah, named Lizzo on the soundtrack. Respect. Um, yeah, it just felt like it's sort of it's sweet. It's definitely sweet. And I mean, maybe the repetitiveness of, the same day over and over again does get a little bit boring. Um,
Mm,
I think it shines a little bit of a negative light on sorority culture, which I also respect because I think
yes,
sorority culture
please.
is trash. Hot take.
Garbage.
So I like that about
Dumpster
it too.
fire. I like
Um,
that pick.
but yeah, it's cute. It kind of has like a little romance going on. Like it's a cute one.
Yeah.
It felt like it fit there.
That.
Okay, so then chaotic good
Which is
is called
that.
is according to the reference chart is called true freedom.
Damn.
And this is one of the ones like this as soon as I knew we were doing this, I was like, this movie will go on my chart and this is where it will go.
Oh,
Like I feel
what is
very strongly about this movie in this place, which is The Cabin in the Woods.
Oh
Is
my God, I
chaotic
love The
good.
Cabin in the Woods. It's also on my chart, but not there.
It's so good. And I mean, I love it because it's chaotic good because it is truly breaking
Yeah.
all of the laws.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's you could look at it two different ways. Like it's breaking the laws of the genre, it's calling them
Mm-hmm.
out, it's making them
Right.
obvious. And then in the ending is defying them and what's
Yep.
allowed to happen.
Oh, oh, this is a
But
good
then
pick.
but then also you could even think like the lab, who's kind of the villain of the film more so than
Yeah.
the monsters. The lab is literally using like break because when things aren't going the way they want to go, they break the rules to ensure the
Mm.
earth will be saved. So it's like they're doing chaotic good the whole way through in that way too.
Damn, Jenna.
And I love that movie.
It's so good.
It's
It is
so good.
so good. I saw it in the theater and I was like mouth on the floor
It's
because
so
they
good.
were able to like not obnoxiously be self-referential and have commentary on the genre while still also being scary and being funny. Like, what the
Yes.
fuck? How did you do that? You know?
It's awesome. The end
Yes.
when like all of the creatures are
Yep.
released and they're all just like terrorizing the lab. It's just like
Mhm.
it's the best. It's the best.
It's
It's hilarious.
It's
It's
so
hilarious.
good. Also, Bradley Whitford, who plays Joshua Lyman in The West Wing, is one of the guys in the lab. He's the one that like gets killed by the merman. He's like always wanted to see a merman, you know, and he's like, God, you know, it's like it's funny. Like it's
It's
actually
so
like
good.
laugh out loud funny and also scares.
Yeah. It's
And
solid. It's very solid.
and have you ever seen Evil Dead?
I think I
Because that is sort of it's taking kind of like that movie and plus like the rules about who dies in what sequence and all that kind
have.
of
Oh,
stuff.
really? Maybe I
But
haven't.
Evil Dead is like they go to this cabin and like, you know, some crazy shit ensues. And then there's all of these like uh later movies. I mean, Evil Dead is worth a watch. Talk about great physical
Yeah. I'm
effects.
writing it down.
Yeah, great physical
Totally
effects.
thrilled. I will also say, so it's worth noting that I was such a scaredy cat as a child, like such a scaredy cat. I already told Amy this, and it's my best example. So I'm saying it. We grew up in outside of Atlanta in Marietta, Georgia, and it, Six Flags, the amusement park, Six Flags over Georgia, would do radio commercials back in the day that we listened to radios. And they would do a Fright Fest that would happen like all the month of October. And when their Fright Fest radio commercial came on, I would change the station because it
Ah,
spooked me out too much. So like I
I
did
love
not
that.
watch scary movies
Mhm.
as a child at all, or even an adolescent, or even into my mid 20s.
Yeah.
Todd is kind of what brought me, my husband is
God,
kind of what brought me
God,
along.
God.
And a huge one, like the first time he's like, do you want to watch a scary movie? And I'm sure I was like, no. He was like, Well, what if let's just try The Cabin in the Woods. I mean, I remember this being one of the
That's
earliest
a
ones
good gateway. That's a good
that
gateway.
like, yeah, kind of changed my mind. And he's got his master's in film, so he just has a lot of like cool insight and things that I'm not thinking about or processing when I'm watching movies.
Mhm.
Anyway, it helped. I feel like now I'm like a huge horror's like what we watch all the time.
I am so like, thank you, Todd. Thank you, Todd. Because I feel like none of my, not none, but because Trey and Micah, shout out Trey and Micah, even though they won't probably won't hear this, but like we had a horror movie club where we'd watch movies every
Oh.
Sunday together. Yeah, the three of us love horror. But other than them, there wasn't, and my friend M, my colleague M, but other than them, like, most people were like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in that. Eric hates them. And so I'm excited because I will be like, hey, do you want to get on FaceTime and watch this movie with me? So expect those requests.
Absolutely. As long
And
as there's no way I'm keeping Todd away. So as long as you're fine
yeah,
with
no,
Todd being there.
Todd is completely welcome. Well, and my story is like, I grew up watching horror movies. Like my mom is a really big fan, more of like the old school ones. But I mean, I grew up from a very young child, probably too young, watching horror movies. And so they've been something that I've loved like since a little kid. So um
Well, on
I'm
that
glad,
note,
welcome, you know,
what do you
Jenna,
have
welcome
in
to
Chaotic Good? Oh, well, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
yeah. Welcome. Okay, so Chaotic Good, one of the best horror movies, some folks may even say movies of all time. It's Jaws.
I thought I mean, I didn't know it for this pick, but like when you said that, I was like, it's gotta be Jaws. Like, it's gotta be.
You look, she's in my brain. She's in my brain, guys. And okay, so for me, first of all, Jaws is terrifying. Like I still in the ocean am scared of sharks. And people say that that's ridiculous and that it's some kind of phobia, but it's not a phobia if it's a rational fear. Okay. And in the ocean, I am
Yeah,
not
that's true.
spread.
Like the whole thing about
Yeah,
phobias is like it's either blown out of
it's
proportion or it's
irrational.
not a rational thing.
Right.
Which is always why I think like a fear of heights is weird because it's like
That's
that's
very
scary.
rational. If you fall, you will die.
Yeah, that's scary.
Right.
I'm
That's
turning my fan up because I shouldn't have worn this sweater, but keep talking.
um so yeah, I think it had, and my mom talks about like the impact that it had in theaters, like when it came out, that, there were actually fewer people going to the beach. Like it was like a cultural phenomenon. So first of all,
Yeah.
like a film that has that kind of an impact, that's something right there.
And
And
so many years later, like people
yeah,
who've never seen the film know that sound. They
the
know that
score
like,
is
yeah.
incredible. Like the dun 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 dun, like everyone, it's perfect.
I also watched it for the first time like within the last 2 years. I'm really
No
getting caught up.
way!
I'm making up for lost time here.
Damn, you are watching the classic ones though. And okay, the reason that I picked, well, first of all, what did you think of it? Did you find it scary?
Um, again, it's like there's so much
Yeah,
hype
right.
around this your entire
Yeah,
life, and it is,
yeah.
old and it's come a long way. It held up. Like I was like, I'm
Yeah.
engaged, I'm entertained, I'm impressed. I've seen much worse shark films because we love a shark film and they're
Oh,
rarely
have you been
done
watching
well.
those
Oh my
megalodon?
God. I love the Meg. I love the Meg.
The Meg.
I love the
Jason
Meg.
Statham.
Yes, give me the prehistoric giant sharks that are buried deep in the ocean. Let them
Yes.
loose. Let's go.
Let 'em loose.
The Meg is awesome. LL
so
Cool J, right? Is he or is
LL
that,
Cool
or is that a
J.
different one?
It's LL Cool J's in that, I think.
Awesome.
But my pick for the reason that it's in Chaotic Good is I'm like, the world is healing, like, like,
What?
well, like the shark is like humanity
Oh.
is the villain, the
Oh,
shark
okay.
is the world is healing. I'm like, oh, everybody thinks it's so cool when killer whales are out here doing stuff, but what about when it's a shark? We don't, the fuck. I
The
think
world is
I think
healing.
yeah, the world is healing. I think Jaws is unfairly maligned because of his species, quite frankly.
Did you watch Santa Jaws?
No, I did not watch.
Do you know of this film?
Jaws. Honestly, I did not. It's
My good friend Maggie loves the films that are like Sharknado and like the one that there's like a rubber, I think is the name. It's a tire that's chasing people. There's like she loves that type, like Zombievers. She's in
yeah,
anyway,
yes.
Santa Jaws is like her favorite film.
I don't know that I could bring myself to watch Jaws.
He ate something
Oh God.
that had a
Did you
jingle
bring
bell on
presents?
it. So like you hear jingle bells coming when it approaches.
Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay,
It's I started it and didn't finish it, but I liked what I saw. But I had to leave to go to
that's
like a
kind of
holiday party.
that's
I'm
kind
saving
of
it for December.
that's kind of funny. Maybe that's one we'll have to watch together. Okay, but I do have an honorable mention.
Okay.
Have you seen Teeth?
Yeah, yeah. I remember you saw it like right when it came out and you loved it.
Yes.
And I saw it in my like more recent horror. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's great.
Vagina dentata, ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen. And it's vagina dentata that only emerges in a sexual assault situation. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna
Awesome.
go off,
What kind of plastic surgery can I get
I mean, exactly. I would get that. I would get that procedure done.
right
Add me
now?
some teeth in there. What is it that everybody gets? What is
Grill?
that? No,
Caps? Dentures?
no.
She's pointing at her mouth. That's why I'm
I
guessing these
see.
things. I'm not just
But
like insane.
like how everybody sees.
Veneers?
Yes, veneers. Like vagina veneers.
Oh my God.
Vagineers.
Vagineers. Done. Forget the podcast. Better
That's
idea.
gonna be what some of our merchandise. That's gonna be with our lava lamp dildo and
Vagineers might be the name of the episode, honestly.
Vagineers.
Vagineers.
That's gotta be it. Oh, we're not gonna be able to make an AI image with that though. It's gonna red flag me.
Does it do that?
Yeah, it definitely red flags you.
The computers have standards?
The pinkies in the freezer, I was having a hard time with a little bit.
It wouldn't
I'm
let
gonna
you
go
do
on
like a
some
vagina
list.
with teeth?
Sorry.
It wouldn't let you do it like a vagina with
Well,
teeth?
I'll let you know. We'll
With
see.
really nice teeth?
like oh yeah, really nice teeth. Not because it's veneers. Yeah, got it.
Um well, so why honorable, right? I mean, it's obviously good. It's good.
Yeah,
And
and it's chaotic because
I
it's
would
technically like harming another person, right? Which
yeah. I don't think it's
I'm
chaotic though. It's like don't sexually assault people
that's true.
and you're
But
fine.
like, I guess the rule follower would be like, I'm gonna call the police, But she's like, I'm
I
gonna
see.
chomp your fucking
This
dick.
version of justice. I got it. I got
Yeah,
it.
exactly,
A
exactly.
vigilante justice.
I'm gonna chomp your dick off, and I'm gonna feed it to my dog. Also,
You're right. You're
Ross,
right.
I made Ross watch that, and I didn't tell him anything about it because Ross, my brother, he loves horror films too. And I was like, "Oh, you got to see this movie, Teeth," and I didn't tell him anything about it at all. And he texted me, and he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" Anyway,
That's awesome.
so
I mean, honestly, we should just all start a rumor that that's a thing.
oh yeah, for the new kids, so they'll
Yeah.
be worried about
Yeah.
vagina and top.
Just like let's all
You
start
know,
saying that's true.
This is a great example of a good use of a boogie man tale, of a
Yeah.
lie dressed up as a horror
Consent.
story.
Get consent. The teeth stay away.
We got to make it like as ubiquitous as Santa Claus. Okay, guys, everyone listening, start telling your kids about
Ladies.
vagina dentata.
Everyone listening is like, I'm just glad these women don't have children.
Hey, Mr. Donut.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think you go next and take us
Or-
to lawful neutral.
Lawful neutral. So, okay, I picked for lawful neutral. I picked Scream, which is probably kind of
Okay.
an obvious choice, maybe because the whole thing with Scream, I actually have Cabin in the Woods here as an honorable mention.
Oh.
Because I think just of the focus on the rules, like the identification of the rules, not so much because
Right.
yours, you convinced me. I think that belongs in the chaos. But for Scream, it was really like they reference like the first thing that happens in the movie, which I rewatched last night, by the way. The first thing, and it's a good movie. The first thing that happens is Drew Barrymore gets that phone call. And the guy's like, what's your favorite scary movie? And then from then on, they're talking about different kind of scary movies, scary movie tropes. They're making fun of people in scary movies. It's very self-referential, I think, in a smart way. And
only have gotten more and more so over the
yes, that's
the
right.
most recent one.
Oh, I didn't see it actually.
Oh, really? It was almost hard to follow because of how much it was leaning on.
Oh, wow. The first.
But
or
I
the
think it was good. I think it was good.
Oh.
I actually I'd kept up with the series, but I'd never gone back to the original. And now I have seen it. But anyway, I was like, Todd was like, "You're gonna be fine. It's like Scream 18 or something. Like,
I
what?
Scream 18.
It'll be fine."
Yeah, I
And
mean,
I
they
was like, I
definitely
needed more information. I don't know who any of these people are. I mean, they brought back so many original characters. Anyway,
did they
continue.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch that. But yeah, I just thought that it was funny the way they did it in a way, and it didn't take itself too seriously, but it was
Yeah.
also following all these quote unquote rules of horrors. And I will have to say one last thing. You know the two bad guys at the end,
hmm
and one of them is like in the goofy looking guy. He was like what's that Scooby Doo's Shaggy in the Scooby Doo real live action movies. He's a goofy motherfucker. He was in those 90s movies when we were growing up. And
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Matthew or Adrian
Yes,
or Brody or
it's Matthew.
something.
I think it's
Okay.
Matthew. I think
Matthew.
but the other guy's name is Skeet. I look at those two people. I'm naming this guy Skeet. That's got to be Skeet, not this guy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this is Skeet. No,
It's
wrong.
a
Matthew.
Jack Handy moment.
Matthew. It is a Jack Canty moment. It is. You would think this fucking goober is Skeet. You'd be wrong. He's Matthew.
He's
This
Matthew.
guy is Skeet. So anyway,
Oh my God. Okay, you staying? All right.
Rutabaga.
Rutabagas. So my reference chart calls this position
Oh yeah,
annoying rule thumper, which I thought like because you were talking
that's
about
true.
judges last
Yep.
time. And it's interesting because if you think about lawful neutral, it is kind of that way because it's like you're just following the laws and
Yep.
you don't even care about the outcome. You're just
Right.
doing it because there are laws.
Right. The
You
worst,
don't-
honestly, the worst people on the chart probably. Even
Yeah,
they're
it is,
they're
it
worse.
is a bad spot.
Yeah,
Like-
they're worse than the Judgy McNo because they're like the kid that tells on you because you're not, you're talking in class in the back of the room or something. Like what
Right.
what does that have to do with them?
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, like at least the lawful good, they're following all the laws, but they're doing it in pursuit of good. Like this person's like, I don't care if it's good or bad or
Right.
what happens. It's the law, so I'm doing it. It's
Well,
like I
and
worked for someone at Starbucks like this, and it was like they were my least
Ew.
person to work with.
Well, and this is like I'm minding your business because I want to make sure you're following the rules. Like
Right.
honestly, this is the worst
It is bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
judge. So yes. So annoying rule thumper. I went with It Follows.
Oh, I still haven't seen it.
Oh, it's good.
I heard it was good. Yeah.
I think it's good. So I mean I think I can't spoil anything for you because I honestly like I forget things as soon as I watch them. So like I only remember like basically the premise and that I liked it and then it kind of creeped me out a little. And that's but I do know
Isn't the premise like sexually transmitted? Yeah.
yeah, it's basically like if you have sex with someone, then this creature starts following you.
This sounds
And
like it
won't-
was made by the church that I grew up in.
And won't, yeah, I guess in that way. Yeah, maybe that's partially why it's here. Like but it was just sort of this strict, like this is what it does, and it will fall. And then I
Yeah.
think the only way to get rid of it is you have sex with someone else, and then it follows
Oh my
that person.
God,
So it's
gnarly.
like, but it's very creepy.
I gotta watch it. It's good.
Yeah, I just felt like it had like here are the laws, here's what happens, it's adhering to them. And then again, yeah, if you think it's sort of saying abstinence is the way, then definitely lawful neutral is where it belongs. Annoying.
I'm like, It Follows, produced by the Southern Baptist Convention.
Produced by men that really don't want to prove they're good in bed before they marry you.
Oh God. Fucking dudes. Anyway, fuck them. Not you,
Shout
Mr.
out to all our male followers. We're
Not
glad
you,
you're
Mr.
here.
Jill, not you, Todd. Eric, I know you're not listening.
We're glad you're here.
Oh,
Okay,
and
so
of course not any of our queer brothers.
No, certainly not.
No, it's just the straight ones.
Those men are the salt of the earth.
Yes.
Okay, true neutral then. I will kick us off in true neutral. So true neutral is just simply boring, is what it's calling on this chart. Just boring. And so
My
I
pick
just
did not
went
fit with that.
hot. This is a hot take because people loved this movie and I
Ooh, tell me.
could not. I could not. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's Skinamarink.
I've never seen that. All these movies I
Okay.
haven't seen.
It's
Skinnamarink, I'm putting that on my list. Hold on.
well, have a side project to do while you're watching it because it's like I mean, I have a very good friend who I adore, and she has great taste in movies, and she loved this film, and a
Mhm.
lot of people did. It's very well rated, very highly rated. It is like
Okay.
nothing is happening at all. Nothing is happening. Nothing's happening. Nothing is happening, and then the movie's over, and you're like, where has my time gone? And who do I send a bill to for this? It was absurd.
Please send the invoice.
I went to sleep. I went to sleep during it. And like Todd, and I made Todd give me the breakdown the next day. I was like, well, how did it finish? And he like told me, and it was like, okay, so more of that. Great, great.
Honestly, if you're putting people to sleep in your horror movie, you have failed.
Yeah.
You failed.
And I
Like,
wasn't like, oh, I want to revisit the next day and find out what happened. It was not that situation.
just tell me, give me the headlines. Give me the bullet.
So
Oh,
yeah, Skinnamarink, hot take. I hated it. I think
I'm
it
gonna have to
is
watch it.
boring.
I'm glad for that hot take. Okay,
What
so
about you?
true neutral that because I have to explain where my mind was coming from because it was definitely not boring.
That's okay.
So true neutral, the way I have it said is true neutral characters are neutral on both axes. Duh, God, thanks for that. And do not lean toward any particular alignment. They may here we go. Finally, geez, they literally did a whole sentence where they just said true neutral in a sentence.
I love that this thing is done one extra sentence and we're scolding it. We're like, excuse me, we're on the clock.
I'm like, cut it back, baby. Trim that fat.
We
Touche.
always keep it tight. No excessive sentences. And it can be
Doing my
found.
kegels right now as we speak. Okay, so true neutral says they may act in their own self-interest, but they do not necessarily prioritize their own. It's basically like just I don't even like that description. Let me say how the reason that I picked what I picked. I picked not only my favorite horror movie, but my favorite movie of all time,
Oh, wait.
Alien.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say people under the stairs.
No, I wanted to put people under the stairs on here, and you know that they're redoing it. Jordan Peele. I cannot fucking wait, dude.
He
It's
would
gonna
crush
be
that film.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Oh
People
my
under
God,
the
I love
stairs.
Jordan Peele so
Jordan
much.
Peele, he's a genius. He's
He's
completely
gonna
changed the
crush
horror
that
genre.
film.
It's gonna be incredible. That's one that we should watch together too.
We might have to do like a meet in the middle of the United States
Which
and
where
go
do you
to.
think that well, we'll have to come back to that. But I like that idea. I was thinking about it when we were talking about going to Chapel Roan together. We
Oh.
meet somewhere in the middle.
Oh,
Okay, that's for another podcast. Sorry, that's my bad.
we'll do
Okay,
Chapel Run songs 3 episodes from now.
Yeah, just yeah. Get ready for a lot of Chapel Roan. Okay, Alien. Alien is to me truly neutral in that it is an organism that is just trying to survive. Like it doesn't have malice. It doesn't have any motivation to me other than survival. It's like an apex predator and it's predating. Like that's what you do. So to me, we are only putting judgment on it because we're the ones that are its prey. You know what I mean? So I would say Alien is true neutral. In the same way that, like I'm not going to get into what we prey on. So the other thing though, I will say about Alien, because it is my favorite movie of all time and my favorite horror movie of all time. And my mom says that she watched it when she was pregnant with me. So, what do you know?
Whoa,
I know she did tell me
that's
that.
a fun fact.
I know, I love it. But if you go back and watch it, it's just like an incredible movie. Like it's an incredible film. It's a gorgeous film. Ridley Scott. There's some beautiful cinematography. There's some incredible acting. Sigourney Weaver, who also is in Cabin in the Woods, has a great cameo in Cabin in the Woods.
It has to be for that
Um,
moment in time. Also, like one of the like women had the most
Yes.
screen time and speaking roles. And
Yes.
like, I mean, it
In
had to be like
leadership,
top 1%.
That's
of,
right. And no love interest. There was no, she was just trying to survive and she was the one. She was like the badass bitch for sure, for sure. Sigourney Weaver and Ripley in general is like, my dog is named my dog is named Ripley after this character. So that's how much I love the movie. But also like talk about layers, like it's speaking to things like artificial intelligence and what is a soul and what is a human and what are the bounds of humanity. And then also like you know, rampant consumerism and capitalism as the thing that's going to kill us all. I don't know. It's just like a very amazing film that has a lot of layers and is also terrifying. Like that movie is so scary. And part of the reason is they don't show the whole monster. That is the trick. But that's I could have a whole
Genna
3
Marink agrees with that.
See, but that's I agree with that. Like once you see the monster, depending on the monster, but most of the time, your imagination of what the monster is way scarier than anything that they can actually create. Even though H.R. Geiger, who was the designer of the alien, did a really incredible job because that thing is scary as shit. Okay.
I mean, speaking of, I just watched Blair Witch Project for the first
I've
time.
never seen Blair Witch Project.
I never had watched it because everyone shits on that film, and it's like, oh, it's so stupid. And you see that one clip, they're like staring up the girl's
the
nose,
snot.
and
Yeah.
like that's all I've ever seen. I thought the whole movie was
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
actually thought it was really good.
All right, I'm gonna watch the Blair Witch Project because I think I kind of was like, oh, this is not gonna.
It
be
has a
something.
lot more plot going on. There's a lot.
Okay.
It's a lot of daylight. You're not in the night that much. Anyway, I
Okay.
thought it was good.
Okay.
It kind of escalates a little quickly at the end, but other than that, it's great.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna watch that one. And I'm sorry, but I do also have an honorable mention for my True Neutral. Okay.
That's why you're like, probably not the short episode. I have
exactly because like I literally could do an entire season on this. So, but you know, I would be the only one that wanted to listen to that. Okay, so
I don't know if that's true. I think horror's got a following.
yeah, that's true. You're right. You're right. Okay, so the other one that I have for True Neutral is one. So first of all, AMC Fright Fest is on for October. Highly recommend if you have access to it. I just have it on playing in the background all day for October every day. And Final Destination was on. And Final Destination is essentially just a bunch of Rube Goldberg machines that are killing people. Like literally, it'll be like a ball falls off of a desk and rolls and hits an oxygen tank that sprays across the room and breaks a window and the shards come down and then they smash the person or whatever. It's literally just a series of Rube Goldberg machines that kill you. And so
do you feel like that's lawful?
no, it's True Neutral.
Oh, I see. It's your True Neutral. I see. Okay. Okay.
It's a machine.
Right. You're right.
Death
You're
is
right.
a machine, apparently.
That's great.
Okay, that's all. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I think you kick us off with chaotic neutral.
Oh shit, God. And people are like, please get us away.
No.
Okay. Chaotic neutral, bruh, is one of, I think actually as a rule. Okay, first of all, will you tell me what your thing
My
says?
reference?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me pull it. I'm calling her she.
I love this.
Chaotic neutral fun, but can cause problems.
I don't dislike that for this. I think to me, chaotic and neutral is almost the scariest category because if like there's at least some reference points in the evils and the lawfuls. Do you know what I mean? And so like you can at least sort of you can understand maybe what their next move is. If they're chaotic neutral, what the fuck are they going to do? You have no idea, you know? And to me, that's kind of the most terrifying thing. And so I picked for this, The Strangers.
Oh God, I won't watch this film.
That is one of the scariest movies I have ever seen in my life. And
I won't watch it.
Is because it could be a real thing. And I actually think chaotic neutral is like a psychopath, sociopath, human person. Those are like the scariest actual things on the planet. And
it's not a self-motivate. I mean, I guess some people are, but like, yeah, it's like
it's a compulsion almost.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, that's the most terrifying. And The Strangers is so scary, dude.
So dark.
Yeah.
My Todd just always describes my least favorite kind of horror movie is people being bad to people horror.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't do a ton of that. Other than like an occasional like serial killer, like figuring out like whodunit type thing. I don't do a ton of just like really torturous. So I don't do the Saw films. I haven't either.
I don't like torture porn. Porn. But Strangers, it is people being bad to people, and there is some gruesome stuff, but it's only at it's a lot of it is just so much
tension,
mind games and tension. Yeah. Where are they? And
I mean, it's beloved. Like it's very well rated. Like it comes up all the time, and I'm just like,
I think it's one of the best ones. No, I understand it. I understand it because it's really, really scary. But
Yeah.
it's definitely one where you're yelling at the screen, like, don't get at, you know, like, what are you doing?
Get out of there.
I want brass knuckles, but we should talk about that another time.
I sleep next to a K bar
Oh shit. Yes. Yes.
because
I
they were
want
my client once and they gifted me one.
forgot
And
about
now I
that.
just keep it by my bed.
That's dope, dude. That's badass.
And bear spray. Oh my gosh, because I had a horrifying Amy. This is a story worth telling. So we had a guy, I think we were having electrical issues maybe in the main bedroom, like the circuit kept popping or whatever.
Yeah.
We had an electrician come out. I always have people come out when the dog is at daycare, so I'm not trying to wrangle the dog while working
Right,
from
right,
home while you're here. He would be barking at you or following you around or doing whatever.
right.
So I'm here alone. Todd's at work, the electrician does his thing, and then he needs to be paid by check book. That's like a thing that used to happen, children. And
Yeah, right.
this is only like a couple years ago though.
That's funny.
And so my checkbook, I don't use it often, but it happened to
Right.
be in our laundry room, which is a very small, like a classic, like
Oh,
closet
man.
sized laundry room. So I walk in there and he follows me. And
Mm-mm.
he's standing in the doorway of the laundry room and he's a big or like not he's like a tall
Big guy.
yeah, he's a tall guy. And I turn around to like exit with the checkbook and he doesn't move. And then he
What the
goes,
fuck?
"Is that your knife on the side of the bed?" Because he's been doing electrical work in the
Yeah.
bedroom. And I
What did he do?
said, "Yes, that is my knife." And he goes, "Well, you really need bear spray because the knife's not going to help you as much as bear spray." And I'm still trapped in this
Oh, I'm
laundry
so
room.
sorry this happened. That sounds so scary.
And I was like, "Okay, I'll take that under advisement, please."
Okay, next time I'll have it and I'll spray you in the face with it right now.
This is the creepiest conversation I've ever had. And then I like moved by him and wrote him a check out in the main area of the house. And then I did get bear spray in case that was his plan to come back and
Oh
see if I've
my
gotten bear spray.
God. And the thing is, I wonder if he's just like a dude that just didn't think,
I
right?
just think men don't know how threatened women
How-
have to feel all the time because we're literally being murdered by men constantly.
Statistically, like, you know, that
You
is
are the biggest threat to
yes,
our existence.
right.
So we have
So-
to be on edge around you.
acting like and I think that's what it is. It's just like they're not being aware of the fact that like your presence is a threat to me.
Unnerving.
So can you like what was that? Can you like get me whatever I said that? Yeah, all right. Do something because like yeah, no, that's
Oh my
horrible.
God, wait, did you post that thing that's like
I sent it to you. I sent it to you. We'll post it on our Instagram for this.
I love it was like men walking in a trail they're passing by a woman solo hiker and they're like doing very overt things to make her feel comfortable and yet they're not a
Yes.
threat like
And all men
voguing.
should be doing that. Yeah, like voguing. All men should be thoughtful about if you're a man and you're listening, be thoughtful about how your presence might be impacting someone and
Truly.
try to react to that way.
I don't even remember how we got to the K bar, but that is
I don't know, but that's a really and that's like that is the way like a classic horror movie would start.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's exactly a line that like somebody he would come back later in a raincoat with a hook or something, you know?
I know what you did last summer.
Yes, yes. I watched that the other day too.
I read that book.
Oh, was it good?
It's fine. I was like
Okay, as a pause though, I want to go down this thread for a second. This is
Okay.
why this is definitely not going to be our shortest episode. But the scariest book, Jenna, the scariest book I've ever read, and one of my favorite books of all time, I just recently read, and it's called The Elementals. And it's by this guy named Michael.
I've heard
Which
of
one
this.
is the singer? Michael McDowell or Michael McDonald? Because this guy is the other one. This guy is not the one that's a singer, but he was, and this is another thing with horror is, you know, there's like queer, like aspects to it, you know, like queerness and horror have like a lot, you know, there's like a wrapped up thing with queerness and horror over the years. And he was a gay man living in Alabama, like in the 70s and 80s. And he wrote some of the most terrifying, incredible Southern gothic horror novels. So if you're listening and you like a scary book, The Elementals scared the living shit out of me and was well written, beautifully done. So shout out. And RIP, he died in the 80s.
I feel like I've seen that, but I've never read it.
Oh my God, Jenna, it is so good. And it's not only scary, it's really good. I highly recommend it.
I'm writing it down too. Okay, so chaotic neutral.
Redo.
Reminder that the reference is fun, but can be what? Fun, but can be
trouble
yeah.
or dangerous or
I'm double checking. Can cause problems.
can cause problems. We're close.
Fun, but can cause problems.
I like that.
I went with, for this one, the movie Creep.
I don't think I've seen Creep either.
Oh my God, Amy, Creep is so good.
Okay, fuck. I'm writing this down too.
Creep
Damn,
is so good. And there's a Creep 2, and it's just as good.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know this actor's name, but he's a well-known actor. He has a very distinct face. I'm bad at actors' names, so I don't know. So like tell us in the comment what the Creep actor's name is. But basically the premise of the film is this main character, this actor, has put out an ad in the paper that he's looking for someone to come and film the ending days of his life. He's like dying of some sort of disease.
No, I
He
haven't seen
wants
this.
Oh, okay, you have.
Keep going.
And he's dying of this disease and he wants to film it for, I think, like his kids or something. But anyway, and they go to this cabin, this like
Yes.
yeah. So,
And
so a videographer to yes.
Oh, you're right. I love it. It's so good. It's very good.
It's so good. Did you see Creep 2? Because it's also good.
I didn't see Creep 2, but I'll
so
see
in that one, a woman responds.
Oh, okay.
So it's just but it brings all of the fear factor and creepiness of the first one. It's another one of these ones where like it's testing the limits of humans and like it's like something starts a little odd but you're like still trying to be polite and it's like it's just slowly escalating and so you're like anyway like it grows so slowly over time that like you've kind of been normalized each step of the way so you're like not getting out. If they just jumped to stage 10 straight off the bat you would have been gone, but you're been eased into it. Anyway, it does it very well. It's really well acted.
It is. And that guy's usually a comedic actor.
Yeah, right.
He's very good. Well, and what you were saying just now, it's just like what they say about frogs in a pot, right?
Right.
Like a frog's not going to jump in a boiling pot. It'll jump out of a boiling pot. But if you just raise the temperature a little bit over time, it'll be boiled and it won't even realize it.
Also, don't do that to your frogs.
No, awful. Slit their throat at least.
Don't bowl them.
Don't bowl them. Don't bowl them, frogs.
But to me, like his whole character is very chaotic, and it is like kind of with like just like this sort of psychopathic nature to it. And he's like he's not targeting anyone. It's like whoever responds to his ad. It's kind of like it gives me very like, and it is kind of fun. Like there are times you're like, oh, maybe we like this guy. Maybe he's being real. Like they're like you kind of like are all over the map with him a little bit. Because I think he does a really great job. So it's sort of like
that's a really good point.
He is fun, but can cause problems.
And that's another thing that I think is a mark of a horror film done well I mean, I think you go either way. Like you have a villain that has complexity that you do feel ambivalent about. And there are also ones that were, that's not the point of the story, isn't the character of the villain. But I like, yes, I love that pick. I had forgotten about that movie. It's really scary. It's really good.
Yeah, you got to watch Creep 2 because it's different, but it still delivers on all the things you love about the first one.
Yeah. Also, like the amount of times in my life up to this point that I have done things where I could have easily been chopped up and put into like
oh my God.
Like, holy shit, it's a miracle that I'm still alive.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Like, we made it, Jenna.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
I won't go into those because it'll give Dad a heart attack. So I'll kick us off with lawful evil. We're down to the evil, the lowest level of our chart here. My reference calls this the ultimate jerk. I guess because you're like insisting on following these rules for the purpose of doing bad things.
I like that. The ultimate dickhead.
Yeah. And this is one I did narrow it down to 2, but I picked Elaine. I went with The First Omen.
Oh God, I love that movie.
This recent, like, I don't love I don't really love church Satan. Like that's just like I don't know. I think it's like all kind of boring to me. But we did watch this recently. And what is happening in the film is like a woman is giving birth to the Antichrist, a nun is giving birth to the Antichrist, and it's all been intentionally set up by the church itself to bring this Antichrist into the world so that they can use that as a position of power and manipulation over to assert more power and authority over others. So it's like, to me, it's classic lawful evil.
Great pick. Great fucking pick. And also, what a commentary on sort of the deviousness of organized religion, in particular the Catholic Church, you know,
Right.
diabolical nature of, damn, Genna.
That they'll literally bring the enemy forth into the world if it means that
Right.
they can assert more power and more control over people.
Shit, that might be the pick of the season.
What is the season?
Season 1, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. What about you? What do you have for lawful evil?
I chose Get Out
Ooh, a good one.
because you know, this family has sort of like this methodical.
I had that here. When I
community.
threw them all on this
Mhm.
chart, like it's written there.
I mean, it was such a different take on horror than I'd seen before in a way. I don't know. I don't want to say that either because I'm sure there's like all sorts of history of horror that I don't even know about because of white supremacy and whatever, you know, which is really true. But it's so scary and it's so evil, you know, and it's so unabashedly evil. I feel like lawful evil is kind of like that, right? They're sort of like embracing that, you know what I mean? And
Well, I think they feel emboldened because they're
right,
following the law.
because they have the power. They
Right.
have the rules are on their side. And I think maybe
Right.
that's really what it is where lawful evil is like being the ones that wield the power and wielding it in a harmful way over those without power,
Yeah.
right? And that's like Get Out to a T. And Bradley Whitford's also in Get Out. I love Bradley Whitford, by the way. And it's very well acted. I will say that when I started the last organization I worked for, my colleague was like, "You look like somebody. Who do you look like?" And they were like, "Oh, you look like that woman from Get Out that eats her cereal like dry and then drinks so basically we're telling me that I look like the psycho white supremacist that was like basically stealing black people's bodies.
Whoa.
And this person is black. And I was like,
Oh God.
I know. I was like, you know, I'm not like that, right? I'm not like that type of white person, right?
You're
But
like,
no.
honey, I pour milk all up in my cereal.
I pour all the milk all over. Well, and actually they are my horror movie friend from work. They ended up being my horror movie friend from work. So
Aw.
yeah, good friends with them. But Get Out was sort of, oh, and one more story I'll say about Get Out, which is really funny. Me and Eric was visiting me when I was still living in Atlanta before I moved out here. And we went to the movies. We love going to the movies. And we were in Atlantic Station and there was this huge long line going to this movie and it was literally all black people. And I was like, what is this line? Like, what are they doing? What's happening here? And so I like my pale ass, I walk up to somebody in the line and I'm like, what are you standing in line for? And they all just burst out laughing. Everybody in line that heard me ask the question burst out laughing. And they were like, we're going to see Get Out. And I hadn't even heard of this movie yet. And then after the fact, like watching the movie, I was like, damn, you know, that was I would have laughed in that moment too.
It would have been funny if they just responded with "Get Out," which would have sounded very innocent in that moment.
Honestly, and you know what? I would have respect. Yes, I will leave your space. I apologize.
Get out.
You're there. No, seriously, like leave. And yeah, hey, they look. I get it.
Okay, 2 squares to go. I think you start this time with neutral evil.
I'm so sorry. I think Eric, when he left to go to work, like he didn't close the fridge. And so there's this beeping.
Oh.
I've got to go close the door. Okay, so we are on neutral evil. Neutral evil is a gnarly category too, actually. The chart I was working on with the ones that had the motivation that I had seen had neutral evil as gain as the motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I picked the movie Possessor. Have you ever heard of
Oh,
Possessor?
I've heard of it. I've seen it. Like I can picture the
Right.
screen
Because
for
it's
it.
like it's like the
Yeah.
sort of mask of a person. That is Cronenberg Jr. So Cronenberg Sr. is a Canadian horror filmmaker that's very well known for his body horror. He's like very famous for it. His son has created some of my favorite horror movies I've ever seen, and they've come out recently. Infinity Pool is one, Possessor is another, and it's more of like what we've been talking about, like the psychological sort of bounds of humanity and sanity and identity. And in this particular movie, which I encourage everyone to see, it's very well done. It's very smart. It's very complex. It's also very terrifying. There's a corporation that actually has created technology to where they can implant someone that like one of their employees' consciousnesses into another person's body. And so they do essentially like high level corporate assassinations and things like that. So they're like assassins. So they're doing this evil for money and for gain. And so that's why I put it in neutral evil. But it does like the story is wild. Like at the end of the story, you're like, fuck. Like it does it questions also our connections, and I don't know, it's really really thoughtful, and it makes you really think. And Cronenberg, both of Cronenberg Jr.'s movies that I've seen, Infinity Pool I watched with Trey and Micah, and we immediately after we got home we started sending each other pieces about it, because like none of us could stop thinking about it. So that's the kind of horror that
Mm.
Junior does. Possessor, neutral evil, very good. Highly recommend people go see it.
I love that.
Mhm.
And I want to see it. Like you've told me. Yeah, I'm
It's
interested.
really good. Yeah.
My neutral evil reference chart, they call this space the bully. Which
Oh,
I
I
think is
like that.
interesting. And so I went with it.
What a pick.
Which, first of all, and that goes for the original It,
I
which was
love
like
the
a
original It.
televised series, and the more recent redone version, which
Also
was
well done.
excellently done. Pennywise was obviously a phenomenon. The original series, though, I will never forget. I think Todd was like, "There's a lot of people, that have your sort of reaction. Like, that movie scared the shit out of me," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, that's because they just put it on television."
Yeah, they did.
Where any unassuming child like
Yeah,
me,
totally.
I spent every summer I spent all day at our neighborhood pool. I remember I came home late from our neighborhood pool. Someone dropped me off, or maybe I walked. I did that sometimes. And I walk in and my dad and my sister are watching a movie on TV. And so I just sit down in my towel and swimsuit on our living room floor and I start watching this movie with them. And this movie is the original It series. And I was scared to turn my back to any sort of drain for basically the next 20
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, it's traumatizing if you're a kid.
It was a lot. I
Yeah.
remember so distinctly because the clown only comes around every 30 years. And
Yeah.
so I was taking it as real time that this is
Yeah.
when he's here currently. And I was doing the math of like how old I would
How
be
old would you
when
be?
it reappeared. I think we've already lived through it. I don't know. Could be
Yeah.
now. Anyway,
30 years. I mean, that
but
sounds
basically
great.
I was like, well, maybe by then I'll be over this. Maybe he did it
Damn.
on the 30-year anniversary. That would be interesting that they brought it back.
Mm. We know
But
Stephen King.
I know. But
I
also,
love
the
Stephen
clown
King.
is truly a bully. He's bullying these
Yes,
little children. He's preying
that's
on their
right.
fears, their
That's
worst
right.
fears and nightmares and horrors. Whether it's abusive parents or like it could be anything, their
Mhm.
weight. I mean, all kinds of things. He is truly a bully of a character. So yeah, I put
Mhm.
it in neutral evil. But the movies are great.
Incredible.
I've loved them.
Also, I literally texted Jenna right before we got on to record this episode, and I was like, I'm watching it in preparation.
I almost said it's on my grid, but then I was like, I'm gonna keep it.
Yes, I like that. I like that.
Um,
Great pick. And the original Pennywise is Tim Curry.
I don't
Am
know
I
if I know
saying
who that
is
is.
that? Hold on a second. Am I wrong? What am I saying? Yes, Tim Curry. So Tim Curry was like the bellhop in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. He's been in like a bunch of
Oh.
stuff. I mean, he had a horrible stroke, so he's not. And he was in Rocky Horror Picture Show
Oh.
as the, I'm just a sweet transvestite, that character. He was an incredible actor. He was also the villain in Fern Gully, the gloopy gloppy pollution.
Whoa.
And he did that singing. He's like an incredibly talented singer, dancer, actor. And he was great as Pennywise in the original. He was scary.
Oh yeah, he was
He
scary
was really
too.
scary. As a kid, I was terrified of him. I agree that I think the new one is really well done. The one when they're adults is never like the one when they were adults, the old one wasn't as good. And the same with this. I think there's just something about like being a kid
Yeah.
because you can understand watching kids like how terrified you would feel, right? And it's
Yeah.
a little different when it's like adults and a clown,
Yeah. 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 I would agree with that
Yeah.
wholeheartedly. Okay, chaotic evil. My reference chart calls this total psycho.
Okay. That makes sense.
And this is the only movie on my chart that I have not seen and will not
Oh,
see.
what is that?
It's Human Centipede. I know enough about the
That's a
film
good pick.
to know this is chaotic evil.
Yeah.
It is total psycho,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to watch it, and
Yeah,
I would not
don't.
encourage anyone else to, but I
Don't,
think it
don't.
fits here.
Don't. And let me tell you, Jay, Jenna, and I, my best friend from law school, we did watch it. She's also another person that likes horror movies. We did watch it, and at the end, we looked at each other and we were like, "I wish that I hadn't seen that."
Yeah, you like want to pour bleach in your eyes.
Yeah, no, and because it's not. My thing is like, if it's good, do you know what I mean? But it just wasn't good. It
Oh,
was
really?
a bad movie. Do you it like I don't like gratuitous violence and gratuitous
Yeah.
like it needs to serve a purpose.
Yes.
I mean, and it felt purposeless. It felt just for the sake of shock,
Yeah. That's like the movie Thanksgiving, the horror film
Oh, I
Thanksgiving
haven't seen that.
is that it's not good, but it
Okay.
is that what it is very much that way. I
I-
think it's Eli Roth, maybe like Todd always
I
like, Eli
hate
Roth,
Eli
you wouldn't
Roth's
like him.
movies. I hate Eli Roth's
But the
movies.
other one that was my honorable mention all throughout
Ooh.
in this is Terrifier. For the same, I mean, I watched
I started watching that and I turned it
it's
off.
the same thing. Like it's
Yeah.
like just
It's
like
not
how
good.
what is the grossest way we can think to murder you?
Yeah, it's not good. And
Not good.
actually, the only reason I watched it was because a 7-year-old was like, this is the scariest movie ever. And you say you like scary movies and you haven't even seen The Terrifier. And I'm like, fuck you, kid. And so I went home and I rented The Terrifier.
Stupid.
And I
It's not
started it.
scary. It's just
And
dark.
it's disgusting. It's not, there's no story. There's
No.
nothing. It's nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, I agree with that completely.
All right. Close us out.
But then we have to do our lightning round.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
wanna forget
yes.
this time. Mine is okay. I have a first, and then I have a runner up, which has a story connected to you. So
Oh.
my first is Nightmare on Elm Street. I think Freddy Krueger is actually maybe not always executed in a great way, but conceptually is one of the most terrifying figures that I could imagine, right? Like so
see you through your nightmares.
yeah, you're never safe anywhere. And you never know how he's gonna appear. So that's sort of like chaotic, right? He's, and if you die in your dreams, you die in real life. I mean, that's like, that feels so scary to me.
Yeah.
And even though I do think like the one of the Fear Fest movies that was on the other day in the background was Freddy versus Jason. Horrible, bad. Of course, I know I watched the whole thing, of course, but it's terrible. But Freddy Krueger himself, I find to be like really terrifying conceptually.
I die in my dreams all the time and I'm still here. So just
That's
don't.
wild. When you die in your dreams, do you wake up?
Most of the time. I have died and gone to hell in a dream once.
What?
These
What
dreams
was
are wild
Hell
up here. They wild. I was freaked. I was freaked about it. I was like,
Well,
oh my
but what
God,
was
what have I
hell like?
done?
Was it like a sorority house? What was it like?
So weird. It was just like Gamma Phi Beta.
They were asking me to try on this dress.
They're like, you can't wear your cross down here, honey.
Oh my
Please move your
God.
Mustang from the front of the house. It's not high enough.
Oh, Jesus. When I cut all my hair off, they were like, we have a spot for you in the kitchen.
Oh my God, they were awful.
Horrible.
Awful.
No good, very bad.
Don't do it, ladies.
Don't do it.
Make friends, create podcasts, stay away from
Yes.
sororities.
Literally, I was thinking the other day, I was like, if two best friends make a podcast and nobody listens, like the bear in
There's
the woods.
still so much good happening.
And that's what I thought. That's where I came to. I was like, it literally doesn't matter because I listen to it every night to fall asleep.
We wish she was kidding.
But she's not. Okay, but my honorable mention that has a story related to you is The Ring. Because
Oh.
do you remember that we went and saw The Ring together in theaters?
No, I must have blocked it out after
Yes, I
out of
think
fear
I
because
think
I watched it in the last 5 years and thought I was seeing it for the first
Oh
time.
no,
What was
no.
I doing?
We went. It was a lot of both of us were
Oh
doing a
yeah, there's no
lot
way I
of
was watching
this.
any of it.
And when I dropped you, because I drove us, when I dropped you back at your house, like I walked you to your door. And then we both got to your door. And I was like, well, how am I going to get back to my car?
Mind you, I lived in a short driveway in a
It was very
suburban
short.
neighborhood.
And literally in my neighborhood. It was like a 2-minute drive to my
It wasn't
house.
like a long rural walk down a dark road.
That's right. And it was so well lit. Your parents had like floodlights out there or something, but I remember standing on your like the stoop of your house, like the little porch thing that you had, and being like, okay, well now what are we gonna do? Like we can't just keep walking each other back and forth between the car and the house.
It's like that
And so
riddle about
you,
the
like, get
cabbage
inside.
and the goat and the wolf. And you're like, how do we get them across the river on the canoe?
Yeah, exactly. And so you were like, okay, no, maybe that's when it got really well lit. Is you were like, I'm gonna step inside, I'm gonna turn on
Mhm.
all the lights, and I'm gonna watch you get into your car. And so that's what because I don't even think
That
we had
sounds like what I would suggest.
yeah, it was very reasonable. It made a lot of sense. But we were so scared. Like we were really, it was like
I
really
can't believe you
scary.
had to have convinced. There's no way I came
Oh
up
yeah,
with that
no,
idea. Like you
I
had to
might have
convinced
even lied to you about what we were gonna go see. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't put it past me.
Oh my God.
The other like and the part of that's also chaotic evil is like it's like talk about indiscriminate. Like this videotape is
Oh, I thought
going
you were gonna say like luring your best friend to do the thing she hates the most in the world.
That's kind of like how I saved Tub Girl on as your background on your computer as our freshman year of college. Because Jenna wouldn't look at it. That's pretty mean.
I don't even think I knew how to change that. Like I think I had to like bring in a friend to help. I was like, I don't know how to fix this.
It was horrible. She just had Tub Girl as her background on her
Awful.
computer.
Awful.
Horrible. But like how dastardly to not only like be indiscriminately killing people, but like you're actually like bringing people into the fold, right? Because
Right.
like
The only way you
somebody
can prevent
watches
your
it.
own death is to create
So
even
you're
more of the
deputizing somebody to be evil and kill someone. That
Yeah.
person has to make the decision, like, I have to knowingly put this back on the shelf at Blockbuster and kill somebody. So
It was
yeah.
a great premise for a film.
It really was, yeah. And apparently the I think it's Japanese or
That's what I was gonna say too, but I'm not.
yeah, apparently that one's even scarier, which I can't
Yeah.
even imagine, but
Okay, what's your lightning round?
okay, Jenna, I'm gonna ask you this as your lightning round because I know that you've seen it because we recently talked about it. So where would you put Longlegs in the chart?
Okay, I know I've seen it, but just like I tell you, like I forget everything. So just like refresh me on what the plot is, because I
So
know I saw it.
Longlegs is first of all, and by the way, halfway through the movie, I looked at Eric, we were in the theater, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Nicolas Cage!" And he was like, "Yeah." Like the whole thing is that we know that this is Nicolas Cage in knit makeup. But it's basically like this very
Oh, yes.
creepy doll maker. And he would like create a doll that looked exactly like the person and put some kind of evil orb in it, and it would
Yeah.
make everyone around it like psychopathic and kill each other.
Yeah, that movie was
And
interesting.
talk about bringing someone into your evil. He had done it to the main character, and her mother, in order to save her life, agreed that she would be the one because she was a nun. She would deliver the
Right.
dolls.
I
Yeah.
think that's probably neutral evil
Yeah.
because it's like it's not quite chaotic and it's not really following a law
No.
necessarily. I mean, yeah, I feel like it's probably like maybe even right on the line between lawful and neutral evil.
Ooh, I like that.
I'll give you 3.
Oh my
You
God,
can,
3.
well, no, not to you.
Oh,
You can pick which one you want to do of the 3.
Okay.
They're 3 films that I love, but they didn't
Okay.
make my chart. So, A Quiet Place,
Mm,
Devil's Pass, which I figure you probably haven't
I haven't
watched.
seen it.
Yeah, I have a weird love for it, but that's like a longer
Okay,
story
well, I'm
than
writing that one
this
down too.
episode allows. And
Okay.
have you seen any of the Hell House franchise?
No.
We love a found footage horror, and I also love a haunted house.
Oh, it's
Like,
found footage?
oh, girl, I have maxed out found footage
Oh,
horror. Like,
shit. I
yeah,
like that.
yeah. So it's like a group of friends who what they do for a living is they travel to different places at Halloween and they set up a really elaborate, incredible haunted
Mm.
house experience, and that's like how they make their money. So they're sort of vagabonds, but they're filming everything along the
I like
way.
this. I like this. I'm gonna have to watch that. I like a haunted house too. If you love a haunted house, you've got to read Haunting of Hill House.
Oh,
The
I have
actual
read that.
book. It's so good.
It is good.
Or House on Haunted Hill. What am I thinking about?
Haunting of Hill House is a thing, that is a
Yes,
book.
and it's by a
It's
woman
a
named
female author. That's why I wanted to read it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I thought it was
Yeah.
really good. And I thought the show was really good, except for the last episode. Have you
It
seen the
got a
show?
little like I'm like this
Yeah,
needed an
I
edit.
agree.
Like we needed to tighten this up a little.
I
And this is coming from the tightest of ladies. So,
okay, I'm gonna do A Quiet Place because it's the only one that I've actually seen.
okay.
And that's I'm gonna give it a true neutral. Because
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the aliens. They're again, and maybe that's
Earth is healing.
You said what?
Earth is healing.
Earth is healing. Ooh, excuse me.
Have you seen A Quiet Place too? Because it's
Yeah, I
also
liked it.
it's very
I
good
liked
too.
I
They did a
liked
good
it.
job.
So if you're gonna do the bad guy, it's true neutral. But if you're gonna do the family, it's like lawful good because they have all these rules they have to follow in order to not bring
Mm,
the beast. And so you have to be, and we learn almost immediately what happens if you don't follow the rules, So
right.
what I would
right.
say. True neutral for the aliens, lawful good for the family.
I dig it.
Yeah. This is a great episode, I think.
Crushed it.
Crushed
I will, yeah. I'm gonna make a little grid for your visuals.
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you gonna play us out?
Oh, yes.
While you're doing that,
play
I'll
us
tease.
out.
Next week is a really big day in America because we decide if we hate
Yeah.
ourselves or if we're going to deserve better as a country. And so please vote, first of all. Second of all, in celebration of America and all of our problems, we have a somewhat themed, we won't give it totally away, but we have a relevant theme topic for next week too. So get excited.
I'm gonna play. I'm showing this on my screen while I play us out. Get excited! Get excited for next week. Way to go,
Amazing.
Jenna! Great episode. Love you.
Come alive. Come alive. D&D with Angie. Let's discover who we're supposed to be. While chaotic evil spreading misery.